Yo, welcome. So this is going to be the fifth episode of Practical Evolution, and today we're going to be soloing, so no guest today. But as you can see, there's a lot going on with sort of the background and what we're recording. So today's topic is biohacking, and we're going to go through some of the recent learnings and current implementation I've been experimenting with and going through, with the sort of idea that you could learn something from recent learnings, recent studies, recent sort of optimizations that I'm doing within my life and routine, and maybe you could implement too. There's loads of resources that I've sort of been consuming, and yeah, let's jump into it. So, over on the right, you'll see just some of my notes. We'll sort of talk through some of these to sort of not be overwhelmed. We've compartmentalized a few things that are important or you may want to prioritize or not. And this information has been like, this isn't just all of a sudden I've learned all this stuff. This has been like a slow, iterative, sort of consuming this information in the recently with like the don't die sort of movement. If you've seen that with Brian Johnson, or the biohacking stuff, which has been around for like 20 years with Dave Asprey, and even like Andrew Huberman in his podcast, all sort of bio-optimizing or effectively improving your body and your mind. So they optimize they optimize in a couple of ways, but it's normally hormones, it's normally subjectively how energized and how effective your action is. It's detoxing, so it can include removing toxins and generally fueling your body with everything it needs, giving the mind maybe nootropics so it can even perform better than it normally can, and obviously doing the things that your body likes doing very well so it can function, like sleep, exercise, diet, very foundational things. And yeah, if there's a lot of information out there could be conflicting evidence, and I'm just going to be talking about what works for me, what makes me feel great, what makes me feel energized, and all the stuff that I've sort of been aggregating, applying, implementing over the last, say, 4 or 5 years. So let's get into it. So, first one is the Whoop. So, highly recommend. This isn't a sponsored sort of thing. I've been wearing a Whoop for a year and a half now, and yeah, it's great. It tracks your sleep, it tracks your workouts, it can even track activities like surfing or meditation. And one of my favorite metrics with this is HRV, which is heart rate variability. And heart rate variability is, you can think about it as if your heart rate or heartbeat can be more variable, so it can be shorter distance and longer distance between beats, and it's flexible with how it's beating. In a sort of counterintuitive way, that is the most healthy version of your heart, and it's the most healthy version. And so as you're optimizing for that, you are able to switch between your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, so your fight or flight and rest and digest nervous systems. And you can do that a number of ways, but effectively overall health, overall sleep quality, overall resilience emotionally and physically are all going to improve your HRV. And you'll notice fluctuations where when you're ill, your body is sort of less resilient to its environment and maybe emotions, and your HRV will drop tremendously. So for example, mine's often above 100, and it varies widely between people, even men and women. But if you sort of know your baseline, this is why these things are good, because you can know it's a big drop. Like if I was to drink, mine drops for like 3 days and then slowly, gets back up to norm. If I have a really, really intense workout, maybe it drops like 1 day and then it's back up. So it's like during recovery, it sort of is a really good estimate, I find. And Whoop has its own recovery metric, which includes HRV. I think it has a huge weighting towards HRV. So just worth mentioning there that HRV is like a super, so I'm going to add that here. HRV, sort of the 80-20 of recovery, overall health, resilience. Really great stuff. And then, so this is going through kind of my morning routine. So I'll check my Whoop scores, my sleep stats, how quality was my sleep, how recovered am I. And then we'll do some breath work and red light. So breath work with Wim Hof type style. So this is the hyperventilating exhale, breath hold, and sort of cycle. So you cycle that 3 times. And I found this really good for people who talk about like toning the vagal nerve or having a higher sort of resilience in that like fight or flight or easier to switch. And I think it correlates to like improving your HRV we talked about before, but this sort of subjective experience of it is that you feel like you've done something really sort of challenging in a way, or you're building your resilience, and things will feel easier. They'll feel closer to being like achievable in a weird way. So I don't know if that makes sense, but if you have the sort of the occasional feeling of you're on top of the world, I can take this on, and oh, this is nothing, I got this. That sort of feeling I feel improves doing breath work, and obviously you'll have to see how it affects you. All these things I recommend everyone sort of experiments, maybe not all at once, but you sort of implement these, trickle them in, try them with your life, see how they work, see how they fit in. And if you notice a benefit, keep it in. Like that's what this is about. Sort of self-experimentation. Red light. So red light's something I've been doing now probably 2 years. So I got like a Juve red light. That is joov.com. Red light. And yeah, so when you sit in front of these, it promotes sort of healing, recovery, it energizes your cells, it is meant to improve your mitochondrial function. There's even some studies about like the red light hitting, so it sort of penetrates deeper than just like your skin. And this is like a frequency of infrared and near infrared and stuff like that, and it will improve your brain function, it can improve the collagen sort of in your skin. All the things that like the sun does, but without the UV. So yeah, really great stuff. Lots of benefits that I've had with that. This is a new one. I don't know if this is super faddy, but I thought it worth mentioning like what I'm doing now, what I'm trying out, things I'm learning about. So vibration plate, this is meant to help with sort of, if you're familiar with the lymphatic drainage system, it's meant to sort of get things moving. I've noticed with digestion as well, it can help. So it sort of basically vibrates you at different frequencies, and it can help things sort of limber up, move up. It can help with rehab. Similar sort of like loosening up fascia and sort of tension that may be there. And again, red light, different areas of your body, obviously. I was using it for my legs to sort of rehab my hamstring, which I tweaked a couple months ago. And yeah, so finishing off the morning routine, bit of meditation. I've heard a lot about neurofeedback, and basically Mendy is a great company that I've heard that has this neurofeedback training, which I'm probably going to experiment with in the near future, almost certainly. And then we get into our first sort of consumption thing. So after I've done this, yeah, I guess meditation as well. If we just talk about some of the benefits, obviously it is like a peace of mind or mindfulness thing. So you can catch reactivity and you can end up breaking patterns with mindfulness. So if you develop a level of mindfulness, you remain the observer, you allow things to come up, you can process things at an accelerated rate, you can process the past and maybe even be more equipped to handle things going forward, sort of speeds up your learning and improves your mindfulness, which when maybe something like a really hard situation comes up, you're able to sort of view it more objectively, not get so intertwined with it, and keep your peace effectively. So there is that. Let me mute this. And yeah, so diet, I'm not going to go into this too much, but effectively a blue drink is what I call it, because it's blue, because it has methylene blue in it. It has some electrolytes, which is like potassium, magnesium, and sodium. Creatine, one of the most researched supplements, I think the most researched supplement. So obviously super beneficial for sort of muscular output and brain function. Amazing supplement. Everyone should be taking creatine. Filtered water. So water in where I am, London, it's not super high quality, so you should be filtering your water. Both shower, tap, consumption should all be filtered. I would have probably like an osmosis filter if I have my own place, but I just have a sort of built-in water filter. And then glycine, which is a new one, which is to assist in sort of detoxing and yeah, just a great amino acid that you should have in your diet. Coffee. I have a bean to cup, espresso machine, filtered water. I've started adding, so this is part of Dave Asprey's stuff. He mentions like the bulletproof coffee type thing, MCT oil, ghee butter, collagen. So you can sort of max out your coffee with fat and enriching stuff for your, for your body and your energy. And you can run on fat sort of in like a ketosis type state. So it trains your body to be a bit more metabolically flexible. So you can switch between burning carbs, burning fat. And obviously when you're burning fat, you end up burning the fat that's stored in you as well. So it's really good to keep that metabolic flexibility. That's like equivalent with being sort of young and healthy, is how sort of insulin sensitive you are, how much you react to carbs, how easily you can switch back. Huge thing that I'd recommend looking into. And just so you guys can not just sort of take my word for it and do the research yourself, I would highly recommend this Gaia series, if you can see it over here. So on the left we have nutrition. Let's make it a bit bigger for you. So I did this series recently, so I'm not going to go over all of it, all this information, but I've taken what was useful to me and implemented it. Nutrition, fasting, fitness, sleep, cognition, detox, sex and hormones, supplements, stress, spirituality. And this is, I'll leave this in here. I'll leave the link in the description, so please check that out if you get the chance. And yeah, more from what we've learned from this. But yeah, just so you know, Dave Asprey has a load of books. You can also read them. I'll link to his diet roadmap, fasting roadmap diet. And yeah, sort of like what is the best food to have, what is not so good to have, and different things which we've talked about, like adding fat to your coffee, intermittent fasting, or even one meal a day, and different things you want to be avoiding, which is why it's good to sort of prioritize nutritional quality and getting rid of toxins like mild toxins and oxalates from your diet. But yeah, it's a really good resource, which I'm going to add to the description. And before I go into the supplements, because people can be asking like, where do I get this stuff? How do I know what to get? If you're in the UK, this will be super easy, but there'll be US equivalents if you're from the US. But I've put together an Amazon list. It's quite comprehensive, loads of different strategies for optimizing your sleep. All the supplements I talk about in this video, everything is in this list. Water filters, food things, water filters, ghee, you get the idea. But that's also going to be in the description, and that's also going to be hugely valuable. So blue light blocking, I think we've covered sort of the broad basis. Working out at home, if that's something that interests you. I've been doing calisthenics for about 10 years now, and we'll carry on talking about more things I'm doing to optimize and to biohack. So, cool, we've covered the resources, and now that you'll know where you can find everything, let's go back to finding going through the supplements. So, minerals, you need quite a lot of minerals and quite a broad spectrum of minerals. You do get lots of these in your food, but probably not enough. And so it's really, really beneficial to supplement these. So magnesium, probably even the supplement that I'm using could do with more magnesium, but there's more magnesium in some of my other supplements, like my vitamin D supplement. And yeah, effectively these cover, there may even be more you want to consider. It can be important not to overdose on some of these as well. Like I think selenium, the iron to copper ratio can be quite important, so it's important to get plenty of copper for iron you're getting. Iodine, super niche, but I found it's you have it in like super small quantity, but it is very beneficial. And yeah, that about covers that. Vitamin D3, vitamin E. So vitamin E is really good for protecting against PUFAs or polyunsaturated fats. And these are things like seed oils or things in your diet that are like super processed, and sort of helps you also detox them if you've eaten them in the past, because they can remain in your body for like 10 years, 5 years. And this helps you sort of get rid of them. Vitamin D, obviously, I live somewhere that isn't super sunny. It's about 4 o'clock and the sun is setting. And this comes with some extra minerals, boron, which is good for testosterone. And then this is the more like out there supplement that I take. But it's beef liver and beef testicle. Yep, that's what I said. Freeze dried, it comes in these little capsules, so I'm not actually eating these things. I take 3,000 milligrams, and this is like nature's multivitamin. It has loads of minerals, even like CoQ10. But vitamin A is probably like one of the primary reasons, and a load of B vitamins, which I don't get from other supplements. But yeah, so I feel like I've covered my foundational, this is what I'll call my foundational supplements. So I'm covering all my minerals, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin A, vitamin B, you know, the whole alphabet. And all the minerals. Minerals, minerals, minerals. Very important. Of course, with all these minerals, you should be having plenty of water. But I'm not going to be talking about dehydration. So detox supplements. So this is something that I won't do every day or even every week. So at the moment, I'm doing like a more intense detox protocol. So maybe like 4 to 5 times per week. So 4 to 5 days of the week, I will be taking these things. And so I'll be taking liposomal glutathione, calcium D-glucarate, TUDCA, activated charcoal to sort of pick up all the stuff, glycine, which I mentioned was in my coffee, which to assist in the sort of the cleanup of toxins, TUDCA as liver support, calcium D-glucarate and glutathione are also sort of liver support, because liver is like your primary detoxing organ. And this, you would say, like, isn't necessary in sort of a foundational way, but because depending on your lifestyle and environment, we're exposed to a lot more toxins in the modern world. So there's different examples, which was actually in this PDF. So omega-6 oils, mild toxins, oxalates, phthalates, lectins, all these sort of things that may be building up. Heavy metals, another example. All these things that we want to sort of get rid of our body because they get in the way of maybe optimal hormones, optimal energy. They sort of require energy and can even mess up our gut or microbiome or, you know, immune system. But yeah, very, very important. Reduce toxins, so you want to control, we've already talked about food quality, but water quality is incredibly important. So we have a huge water filter. If I bring that up on the left, actually. It's a big old water filter, 8.5 litres, huge, a lot of gallons. Removes fluoride, chlorine, impurities, good pH. Would recommend that one. Very good. And what else we got? Fasting. So fasting isn't okay, I have a lot of experience fasting, so people may not want to jump in with this sort of protocol. So I've done 6-day fasts, I've done 3-day fasts, I've done like multiple times a year. I often do 24-hour fasts. I've done OMAD for like 3 months, every day for 3 months sort of thing. Yeah, so my current protocol is intermittent fast, so having this like fatty coffee ordeal every morning for my breakfast, then having like a really high protein, high fat lunch, and then dinner can include some carbs and stuff like that. And I found that's working quite well. I will keep you posted because this is probably a recent implementation. But I'm coming from like 1 meal to 2 meal a day to a consistent like 2 meal a day, sometimes 3 meal a day. So on the other 2 days of the week, I will have breakfast. Yep. That's that. So fasting has loads of benefits. Fasting like helps you put you into this autophagy state, which cleans up cells, it improves your microbiome, sort of bacteria ratio. The bad ones die off, the good ones propagate. And it can help with cell rejuvenation and regeneration. Autophagy is effectively a healing mode that your body naturally goes into. Also, it puts you in ketosis, depending on how you're doing it, how long you're doing it, which is like a fat burning, metabolically flexible sort of state, which improves your metabolic flexibility and your metabolic health and your age, and your body becomes more adaptable, more insulin sensitive if you do it in the right way. You can overfast, so don't overfast, can mess up your metabolism, but also don't underfast, which means not doing it at all, if that makes sense. Okay, cool. I think we're covering a lot of ground here. Let's just finish this off. Not much more. So, sleep, blue light, you want to block it, and bright light you want to reduce, like 3 to 4 hours before going to bed. If you are consuming blue light, block it with some blue light blocking glasses, and blue. There you go. Something like this. These funky orange looking glasses, but no one else will see you wearing them outside. So you just wear them in your house if you're consuming blue light, and ideally turn off overhead lights because your body thinks it's the sun. That's not good for your sort of melatonin production and getting ready for sleep. Blackout. So if you want an eye mask or you black out your curtains, very important. You want to be in a cave. You want to feel like you're in a cave sleeping. Mouth tape. So if you haven't sort of heard of this might sound quite weird, but you want to be nasal breathing all the time. Ideally, even when exercising, even when doing breath work. Read James Nestor's book, Breath, if you don't believe me. But nasal breathing is how we should be breathing. You should eat through your mouth and breathe through your nose. It's a good rule of thumb. And mouth tape makes that, mandatory during sleep. If you have a habit or an unconscious habit of doing that, it can retrain you. And it's pretty low effort, high ROI activity because your microbiome will be healthier because you're not sort of breathing in through your mouth all night. You stay more hydrated because you're not losing water. Your brain functions better. You get more oxygen through your nose. It's actually a more efficient breathing machine. And yeah, nasal breathing is good. In case you didn't know. Weighted blanket. So this is just nice and easy. But if you have a weighted blanket, let's see if I can find it. Weighted blanket. You may want to get a different one, a more heavy one. But glass beads, yeah, it's very good for sort of soothing your nervous system in preparation for sleep. So you want to be relaxed for sleep. You want to be a professional sleeper. Food standards, so trying to hit like quite a high protein goal at the moment. So it's like gram per pound of body weight. Don't know if that is what I am in pounds, but maybe something close to that. Food standards, so obviously eliminating processed crap, which looks like not eating out very much, and eliminating sugar, grains, seed oils, gluten, alcohol, sort of cutting out all the garbage. Alcohol. Obviously, some of these are like social crutches, and you have to learn or unlearn how to engage socially without alcohol, which can be interesting. And the reason for avoiding these things is that sugar is hard for your liver to process, and so if you're eating lots of sugar, it's also bad for your metabolism because you become insulin resistant, you put on loads of weight, and that's bad for your hormone balance, and that has cascading issues in itself. Grains, I think a lot of the sort of grains that are sort of GMO, highly sort of like glyphosate and all those chemicals put on them as well, those things can have sort of deteriorated grains over time. So maybe grains 100 years ago were actually good. Grains today can cause inflammation, they can cause sort of gut issues and intolerances that we may not be aware of, but causing inflammation, which makes our body work harder for no good reason, less energy, etc. And if inflammation goes sort of untreated as such, you have chronic inflammation that can manifest as chronic stress, chronic illness, and that's sort of the precursor. Seed oil is the same, so this stuff like rapeseed oil, sunflower seed oil, all pro-inflammatory stuff because it's not what our bodies want, or maybe they've changed to something that causes inflammation. Okay, these are my standards. Feel free to experiment with some of them. Protein may vary, but generally high protein can't really go wrong. And exercise standards. So I've been training for about 10 years. I've been training for about 10 years, let's say 10 years, and I've done a variety of training methods. I've done strength training, I've done more hypertrophy stuff, I've done loads of calisthenics, love calisthenics. I've done lots of sport, which has made me enjoy calisthenics as well. So I do weighted pull-ups, handstand push-ups, front squats. I'm now working at home. I was doing some CrossFit last year, but I got some adjustable dumbbells and parallettes, weighted belt for pull-ups, weighted vest even, and all the stuff is great. I think you can't go wrong with, think about horizontal pull, vertical push, horizontal pull, horizontal push, and legs. So that's sort of how I think about training. I want to get stronger in those regards, and that is that. I've been doing Bikram for about 2 years, which is hot yoga. So 45-degree heat room, and you go in there 60 to 90 minutes, depends on the class, and yeah, it's tough. You're sweating within 2 minutes maybe. You go through the same postures, but I found it's very sort of spine orientated, and so in something like training where you're often going through like motions, sometimes you brace your core, but you don't get the extensibility of front bending, back bending. So I find it like a really good counterbalance to general strength training. I'd say calisthenics is probably a bit better for generating like spine health and good posture. But Bikram is just, it's intense. All that sweating is great for sort of detoxing. I'd even recommend like a sauna blanket at home if you don't have access to a sauna. So something like this, like a sauna blanket or an actual sauna, but that's a bit costly. So this is like the cheaper alternative you could have at home. Detox, sauna, fantastic. Sweating is good for you. Sweating is naturally, you detox through sweat. You're purging. And that is my exercise standards. There we go, and some goals, if you're interested. Why am I doing all this? Well, I want to have good body composition. I want to feel strong, be strong. I want strength correlated body composition goals. So this is just for example, weighted pull up plus 40 kilos, maybe even 5 reps on that. So for example, and I'll do that with a weighted belt and probably a vest. weight vest, and energized tranquility. This is like kind of a subjective heuristic I like to use. So, do I feel energized? Do I feel ready for action? And do I feel calm, level-headed, clear? You know, don't have that brain fog, have that clarity, can cut through the noise. All of these things. And so these are energized tranquility is just a nice heuristic. It's like, am I energized? Am I tranquil? Yes, yes, cool. If not, then generally you're iterating, you're experimenting, you're trying to get to that. And so it's a good heuristic to sort of bring you back. Because that's what it's about. It's about feeling good, feeling your best even, and therefore we can do our best. We can show up our best for our relationships, for our work. And yeah, I think that is it. I will have the PDF linked and the Amazon list linked. And I think that is it. I think it's been a short and sweet video. Lots of information, so obviously don't feel like you have to buy everything on this list or listen to all of this information all at once. I'd recommend going through the Gaia series, looking at the PDF, maybe making small adjustments. Even eliminating certain things can be easier than adding things first off, so generally simplifying first, then add in maybe one at a time. A couple supplements here, higher quality meat, grass-fed beef, for example. And yeah, I wish you all the best. I have more resources on minmaxflow.com. DM me if you have any questions, message me. And yeah, let's get it. I hope you have a successful optimizing biohacking journey. Peace.